Good day and good evening, and welcome back to Roulette Live with me, Chaiji, but you can just call me Kai. So, as usual, about 3 hours, about 10 duties, preferably more. We'd like around 15 if we can. I'll probably do as I have started usually doing, which is I'll queue as a DPS for around a minute, switch to a tank for about a minute, and then healer. And if we don't get anything with healer, I'll probably jump around. The point is that I'll probably choose one role, queue for a minute, try a different role, queue for 1 minute, and then try the last one, you know. It should work out that way. Now, that said, hey Ardell, hey Taldemar, hey Kaj, hey Veteran, hey Rust, hey Lana, hey Teenley, hey Beans, hey Agent Monica, hey Saras, hey Alice, hey Tessie, hey Alfie, hey Boobomet, hey Procrastinauts, hey Naomi, hey Crusher, and hey Ilya. I hope you're all doing very well. Also, before we start, there's something pretty funny. So, I've been, I would say the lighting of the camera down here, I'm down here, is already pretty nice. I still notice that when I zoom in real hard, it's pretty obvious that it isn't perfect, and I would like to get it just a little bit nice. I also have wanted for a long time a green screen, because that could be really funny. Now, so I bought one. I also bought extra lights, because a green screen will not help very much if the lighting is super imbalanced. Then it just doesn't work, so I bought extra things. However, my table is up against the wall, so actually I have a light there, next to the table. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is not because I'm like, guys, I got a green screen. It's actually something funny with the packaging. Now, the green screen is like 2 meters wide. So you'd think that the box would open sideways, right? First off, it's down here. It's like a daikatana. Second, it does not open from the side. The package does not open from the side. If you've ever seen those, like, samurai unsheathing techniques when they have to unsheath a sword that is too long? Yeah, that was me. I thought that was pretty funny. From Procrastinauts says, green screen, green chair, man, be sitting on thin air. You know, that is a good point. That will probably cause some problems with the chair, but I guess we'll take that when we get there. A green shirt? You know, that reminds me, like, many years ago, there was this, like, weather report on Danish TV where, like, the main weatherman got gifted a green shirt so that it was easier to see. Say Sally and Eaterette. Hope you're doing well, and Ridleyan. But yeah, you know, I haven't even thought about that. The fact that my chair is kind of like worn down makes me completely forget that there's green on it. However, it might just be fine. Who knows? Maybe it'll look really funny, because you'll be able to see through half of my chair. Now, with the funny comedy segment out of the way, just wear down the green parts. I could just put, like, if it's a real big problem, I could just put, like, something over it. Jose Philippe and Violet. But the real logic is that, so that black thing in the background is not like a blackboard. That's that's our window with the drapes down. Or the blinds down. And the blind is not wide enough to like completely blot out the sun. So, as some of you may know, when I stream in the afternoon, what often happens is that the stream starts with me like lights off, just me and the sun working together. And then as time passes, we gradually move over to dark Kai, where it's just too dark, but it's just not dark enough to justify switching the lights on, which makes it too bright. But a really, really easy way to fix that is to just put something in the way. And the most, as far as I understand, most consistent solution is just put a green screen there. It's easy to like pack away when you're done. Now, hey Zach boy, with that, looking forward to the boss fight against Dark Kai. Dun dun dun. Well, what would that fight look like? Now, I will queue when it says 10. If I can manage to fix my settings in time here. As Red Mage. Never mind, I had clicked that. I'll queue it when it says 26. Yeah, that was a mistake. I didn't even realize I'd clicked it, because I don't normally click it. Hey, Iconi. Hope you're doing well. Imagine Dark Kai to be a bard or ninja main. Dark Kai Azala, or like a male Rigadon, but just a wide gap in vibes. A Magna Wolf. Yeah, I don't know me. I imagine that I would imagine that Dark Kai is probably a Azala in opposite colors. Probably wears a lot of blue. Hey Larks, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much, that's very nice. Thank you. Whoop. Whoop. That one. And welcome back to the game. Oh boy, what a start! Here we go, guys! You know, every time I land in something like under the armor, I'm like, I should make... Like, I have a stream deck and everything. I should just make a button that just blasts straight into, like, the Everything Burns chorus. Could you imagine? I'll queue when it says 12. And he's Stroimex. And he's Metricod. And drill stops. Everything burn! Well, it's actually good when it's 3 classes. Then there's at least some chance that they get relevant XP out of it. And the thing is, like, I have a lot of things to get done and upgraded. I have a stream deck. The only thing that I've done to it is I've added this. And I just haven't gotten around to, like, add more. Play Battle Goose and Flebs. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, Battle Goose. For some reason, 3 of the 4 tanks have a damage cooldown by before level 10. Oh boy. I'll just start moving the turtle immediately. We don't have to rush it so much. Can you move when I'm ready to move and not, like, attack me exactly on my GCD, man? Can you... Perfection. I'll queue when it says 4. Really is as well. That's crazy. It's not as crazy as Monk having perfect balance before they have form shift. Yeah, although I guess originally perfect balance was meant to be was meant to have a different purpose. Like, in a way, originally perfect balance was basically like being able to like jumpstart your rotation. And I'm pretty sure, like I might remember it wrong, but I'm pretty sure perfect balance originally had like a 5-minute cooldown. It was like straight up, you just and then you're going, and then you better keep it going for the whole fight because you're not getting another chance. And you didn't have any way to like fix it if targets disappeared, because form shift didn't get the ability to maintain your greased lightning buff until like Shadowbringers. Have you seen how long it takes Ninja to get its 3? Don't Ninja get it at level 26? What? 26? Huh? I'm confused. Oh, we're getting a real duty now, guys. That's our real duty. Gonna need more KO sounds. I only have that one on my stream deck because I wanted to test if I knew how to add things. It was very easy, managed to make it work, and then I just haven't gotten back to it. Do we even generate resources yet? No, our AoE still don't generate any resources. Fantastic. Yeah, it is worth mentioning that whole thing with perfect balance being a damage loss at 50 is something that came with Dawntrail. Before that, it was first of all, I believe it was a lot more complicated to calculate whether it actually was a damage loss, because there was like other reasons you might want to use perfect balance than just that. But like before Endwalker, it was even more clear that it was worth using, because it like there was a time back in Shadowbringers where you still needed it to jumpstart your rotation. So it's like a lot of the simplifications that Dawntrail have provided that has caused this weird situation. That doesn't, of course, mean that, oh, and because of history, therefore it's okay. It's just, it at least explains why perfect balance is given to you at that level, because it made sense at one point. But there's a lot of those things with 14, isn't there? a lot of things where it's like, when you dig down, it's like, oh, well, technically, if you think about it and the history of the game, it makes sense. Which is not the most effective way to justify something in the game. It used to make sense. That's why we have it like this. Okay. It's really weird how Warrior has an AoE spend of 25 levels before it can build resources. It's funny you should mention that. There was a time where it wasn't possible for Warrior to generate resources for AoE at all. It was actually, in a way, a little bit special that Warrior had that. Like, the reason why Paladin doesn't get an AoE spender until level 72 is because before Shadowbringers, the way that things worked was that physical jobs spent a ton of their TP resource on AoE, which meant that they didn't really need a follow-up. Like, they just needed an AoE button, because they'd eventually be blocked from it anyway. Like, they just needed enough that they could cleave as needed. And then Shadowbringers did away with the whole concept of, well, the existence of TP, which kind of changes this relationship quite severely. Again, it makes sense historically, and then it really breaks apart when you realize that, I mean, Dark Knight got Stalwart Soul in Shadowbringers. They just determined that it made sense to give Dark Knight their follow-up earlier, and then just move the resource generation down with it. Meanwhile, Warrior... It's really funny how it ends up being like that, and I imagine that these kinds of things probably helped to the justification for changes with Evolved mode. Although, based on what we've seen, I guess they might fix the whole, oh, you don't get an AoE button until so-and-so level, by going, oh, yeah, well, your attacks conditionally just are AoE as you need them, or something. I don't know. I sure am glad that my burst isn't, like, fight or flight or something. When you get that GCD slow. Yeah, that's kind of the difficult part with it, Zerillia, is that what they might see as feature complete might not be the same as what players view as feature complete. Like, looking at the example, they did show things like a paladin would have something like Requiescat at level 50, which is I feel like that makes sense, considering that the Evolved mode version doesn't have the like fight or flight at all. It basically means at level 50 you should have your big burst button, whatever that is. You should have it. And at level 35 or so you should have some sort of a spender resource like Holy Sheltron, or like, well, Sheltron or Holy Spirit and things like that. And much sooner than that, you should already have your 1-2-3 combo. But considering what they showed, that of course also means that from level 50 to 110, they can give you Confiteor, they can give you each step of the Blades combo one by one, and eventually give you that Blade of Honor final step. And they can give you... They could give you like an inferior version of that satisfaction answering strike thing they showed off. Like, there are many things they can do by basically going, you get weaker versions or you don't get the full combo from a thing. Exactly, Asymmetricon. The reason why that might feel a little concerning to me, if it's more about... Like, the specific thing that I worry about with this is that if they give you basically all of the attack buttons and then just, like, give you more potency on them, it's not exactly how it is, but I do feel like Summoner is close to that design already. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that that specific design is something that I have seen a significant amount of players be like, nah, Summoner's really boring because it doesn't really get anything. Because there's like a level range of like 50 plus levels where it feels like you don't get that much. Like, yeah, sure. Oh, now your big Ether Charge burst is all instant and does more damage. Ooh. Now you get to do a Super Blast during it. Like, a little thing here and there. But it just feels a little like... It doesn't feel like that much. Are these hunters? And that is true. It does seem like they've added more flexibility to your spender. And you can use it more. Which also makes sense, I feel, because it feels like for a long time they've like tried to make the burst more exciting by just adding more and more and more and more and more and more stuff to the burst. But they could accomplish that almost equally as well by just letting you have a smaller burst more often. He's off. Hey, Brianna, I thought you actually had returned to the game, Brianna. And yeah, if you are enjoying the stream, it does help with a like over on the YouTube side of things. So thank you so much in advance. Ah! I should have stunned that. I don't know why I didn't stun that. Yeah, the thing there, Philippe, is that we straight up don't know for sure. Yeah, exactly, Zandis. If, for instance, they want about a sixth of the time or more to be the big funny burst period, then they could just as well, like, for example, cut down the wait time to a third, and then cut the burst down to a third. And there's a lot of ways to go about it. It doesn't have to be every 2 minutes. Now, Asymmetricon with the finisher curse. Oh, that could also work, Yannick. I wonder if it would be fun to do that. I'm not saying that as a obviously that's not exciting, so that wouldn't work. It's more the would there be enough variety for players to actually do something interesting with it, or would it just mean that now most definitely you always go, I don't know, Titan Garuda Ifrit, because that summons the one that does the big damage? Hey, Brontom! It would, of course, also be really awesome if they had, like with what we've seen of Bard, which has, like, songs that give a defensive property, they could make interesting variety by making each of the summoner summons, like the big ones, have some sort of different defensive component. Like, you summon Bahamut and it gives a little barrier to the party when it appears. You summon Phoenix and it, of course, gives everyone a healing over time effect, as it already does. And if you make sure that they're balanced such that they're roughly equally strong in, like, damage, then the question you have to ask yourself is, what defensive component do you need? Which I think, like, the little bit that we saw tells me that the development team is perfectly aware of this specific problem. That they can't just... Like, they can't go, oh, but this thing is better defensively. Because the players immediately go, yeah, but it damage. And thank you for the 25 months, Bronto. Part of the Call of the Pink. That's crazy. Indeed, where did all the time go? Defensive only matters when there is enough of it from tanks. Tanks and healers. That's correct. Which is exactly the reason why it's like, if they make it so that the choice you're making is not an offensively charged choice, it means that you're free to focus on the defensive decision. Which I will say, like, while we're on the topic of that, the best offensive attack will always be the best every time. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there's like, it's extremely difficult to design different options in attack rotations that make the choice like that matter offensively. However, I'm just gonna stay over here. Because, like, most fights will play out similarly enough that there isn't a need to care about the differences. But just the different shapes and timings of damage in a boss fight can easily make defensive choices matter. And that can mean that your rotation could be strongly affected by how a boss works, because your rotation is dictated by defensive options, not offensive options. And that's also something that we can see, like, vaguely in the Bard demonstration. Like, there are 3 songs, and you have to get through the songs in some order. Which means that there is maybe not that much choice to make. But there is enough choice to make that... And, like, a good Bard that thinks ahead can more effectively help the party by using the barrier song before the damage arrives, and then a healing over time effect after the damage has arrived. And then have, like, a move speed song when you're repositioning for a mechanic. Whereas one that doesn't care will, you know, just click the songs in a random order. Say Wolfkin and Necrofits and Harry and Zam. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Fish! I'll queue when it says 27. But even if the boss fights stay as scripted as they are now, it still means that that at the very least, your rotation would be impacted by each individual boss's mechanics. Like, your rotation would change beyond, well, there's a downtime moment there. Because, the boss is attacking, at using an AoE at that point, so I need to use my, this defensive at this point, and things like that. Also, thank you for the gifted membership, Harry. Thank you so much. So I think it could work. And the reason why I, latch on pretty hard to this specific aspect myself is because looking at the attack rotations that we've been given and the information that raid buffs are going away means that at least the Dragoon and Bard rotations, there's no need for you to do it in a specific way, which means that if you see an optimized rotation, it's very likely that in Evercold the answer will be do it in any order. If gem drafts still exist in Evercold, then it'll be do it in any order, but when your gem draft is coming up, you should stockpile to do this, this, and this. But other than do it whenever you want. Which means that, because you can do it in any way you want, that leaves the opportunity for the boss to step in and say, actually, if you do it in this specific order, I do less damage. Oh boy! Oh! Ilana and Agent Monica are here. Fantastic. Thank you for the gifted sub, Rust. Ah. Really? Oh, man. Oh, man. I think we're gonna see death soon with this chaos happening. Ah. Nice. Apparently, it looks like the gifted sub activated the hype train. Thank you, Rust. And it is funny when it's like a little thing, and then it just goes. Burst! Hmm. Uh-oh. Whew. Ah. Just send the limit break as soon as you can, Agent Monica. I think we'll have to 3-cycle this. Yeah, or maybe we'll just do the damage. Nice. Best comp for second phase Rathalos? Hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dark Knight is the optimal tank because TBN is fully functional. The other tanks are kind of like severely limited in some way or another. Ninja might be really good because they have a huge amount of burst they can concentrate and their GCD is faster, which might help with the gauge. Among healers? Is Divine Benison past 70? Do white mages have Divine Benison at level 70? They would have Divine Benison. That would also work. Could help a lot. And they would also have Plenary Indulgence for mitigation. The only thing... Astrologian has Collective Unconscious or mitigation, and they could use their defensive cards. But I have a feeling that non-Scholar, non-Astrologian would be the better pick. Because you're 4 players. For the last DPS, Summoner could work because of Radiant Aegis helps with the stacks and Summoner isn't limited on damage. In fact, Summoner is, you know, level 70 Summoner is pretty nice. It could be something like that. Because of the things that are helpful and unhelpful for such a fight, it is a little difficult to determine exactly what's optimal, I think. It's like Dragon Mo. And Paladin literally gets covered. I don't think it's struggling much. The thing is, actually, that there are certain attacks that Paladin cannot cover. Like, for example, if someone gets punted into the fire patch, a Dark Knight can use TBN while a White Mage uses Divine Benison, and even if the person is stunned, they might live. Paladin can use cover, but it doesn't redirect the fire patch damage. I speak from experience. The things Paladin can block at that level, or redirect, basically requires the Paladin to see the player get targeted and then use cover in, like, preemptively. Which means the Paladin is better if you're in a party with randos, I think. Which is, like, part of the reason why, like, the things that I'm thinking about is this job can soften the stack, this job can soften the stack, this job can soften the stack, this job can do good damage, because the optimal comp will not get hit in the first place. And it's not to say Paladin is bad. Warrior and Gunbreaker might have a bit more... Like, Warrior especially is pretty weak against Rathalos because Raw Intuition doesn't work. You don't even have Nascent Flash. I guess Shake It Off could work, but TBN just does that better. Because you usually only need to bury up one person. Gunbreaker can use Heart of Light, can use Heart of Stone. Those are helpful. But in that respect, I think TBN is better again. Like, there's a lot of things that just mean that Dark Knight has like a slight edge there. In a really funny twist, the thing that we often like smack Dark Knight for, your self-healing bad, is a pretty big up against Rathalos, because it means that all this resource, or, you know, like value on a job isn't going to waste because Dark Knight doesn't have that. And TBN works in Phase 2. Divine Benison is one of the few healer barriers, if not the only healer barrier, that works. Yeah, Heart of Corundum is really strong, and it also helps a lot. The reason why I say that, like, Heart of Stone is alright at level 70, but the thing is, it's 15% mitigation that lasts just about enough time to hit, like, to block, like, to soften one stack, but one stack does less than 100% of a player's health. And barriers, in terms of effective health, are more valuable, especially something like TBN, if the original hit is less than 100% of your health. Like Heart of Stone reduces damage by 15%. If the damage was 100% of your health, then it was effectively a 15% health. It was as good as a 15% health barrier. TBN is a 25% health barrier, so if the attack is 100% of your health, it's equivalent to 25% mitigation. But if the attack is, I don't know, 50% of your health, then TBN becomes a 50% mitigation, effectively, for one hit. And that's where TBN becomes really strong, and because of the cooldown of TBN, if you time it right, you can target the first and last stack. Which means that, like, it's way stronger than the other tank's mitigation, specifically for Rathalos Extreme. What a contest, right, guys? I'll say dogs. Divine Venison? No, Divine Benison. Although Venison sounds pretty good as well. Right. I will queue when it says 22. Oh! Oh! And it's normal.
The end has come, and it will be beautiful. The marvels of circus were but play.
I mean, one day it'll happen. That's correct, Philippe. So the story there is that I suggested the Lunar Solar opener because my guide was still very early in Dawntrail, and my logic was it's perfectly like at that very moment when the guide was made, I believe Double Lunar for the opener was already considered the best choice, but I chose to go Lunar Solar anyway because it could be that I put out the guide and then they do balance changes because they don't actually want it to be optimal. And they make it so that whatever's needed makes it Lunar Solar, right? So I basically chose to make it the, I suppose, the intuitively correct answer. And then I explained why you might sometimes want to do it differently. I do believe I opened my opener section of the Monk Guide by saying that there are many openers to choose from. And that Monk can choose very, depending on the particular duty they're in. There's also the part that at level 90, Double Solar is optimal, as it turns out. That's something people realized later. And in a dungeon, you might actually prefer to do Lunar Solar because the reason... Excuse me, Zodiac, I'm also talking here. The reason that you do Double Lunar is to, you know, shift your perfect balance so that as you observe yourself, you can put Phantom Rush in the even minute. But in a dungeon, it is extremely easy for things to cause yours or other people's cooldowns to drift, and then you have you have postponed your first Phantom Rush. You've postponed your first Phantom Rush for nothing, because it might naturally drift to be where it needs to be. So for that reason, I usually open in dungeons with Lunar Solar anyway. So there's a lot of things that play into this. That is the reason why I just say, Lunar Solar, you have to, like, if you want the exactly correct answer, you have to, like, double check. Perhaps for the specific duty, even. Which can also be a thing.
My life's work.
What's like, Matthew? Hope you're doing well. And thank you for 30 months as part of the Cult of the Pink. Wow. Soon my hold over the Cult of the Pink shall be complete. Oh. Yeah.
How I've waited for this day.
How I've waited for this day. Oh, fraptious day.
All in existence, bent to my will.
Oh, whoops, I looked at it wrong. And the fact I got hit is because I stood exactly where I needed to be based on where I thought it was going. It was, however, not going that way. Good luck, Taldemar!
All shall burn.
All shall burn! I say, Torian! Yeah, no worries, Philippe. The reason why I'm like, as I said, the reason why I did it was more so because from my perspective, it was perfectly possible that Double Lunar wasn't going to stay. I'm perfectly aware that double Lunar was basically the meta for all of Endwalker. So, I mean, there was very valid reason to assume that it wasn't going to change.
All in existence, bent to my will.
But I do believe that I specifically mention in that guide that Monk has a lot of openers. And I do believe I also explain in later parts of that, like, max level section about how you, Oh, I completely forgot to use Embolden. Uh-oh. Hope it hasn't sat for too long.
I have no need for
that I explain what you do when your burst happens to, like, rather your perfect balance happens to align with different timings. All in existence, bent to my will.
Will you live to see the end?
Probably. Will you? Exotericos. Oh, look, another modification. In a way, this was a case of me using modification aggressively on cooldown, ended up giving me part of a modification that I wouldn't have had otherwise. It's relevant to mention because sometimes this kind of question comes up. Like, what do you do? Do you use it on cooldown? And the answer is, well, it depends on when the fight ends. And that was an example of me getting like part of a modification by using it aggressively on cooldown. I'm glad to hear that, Torian. Thank you so much. I have actually come up with a little bit of a new idea. You probably won't see it for a few weeks, but I made this new little animation, quote unquote, because I realized how often I would like spend time going like, and this person and this person and this person and this person is there, and then like it might be difficult for someone who isn't like a regular to the series to know who's who. So instead, I just have like a little like coming in from the side going, this person is that, this person is that, this person is that. So like instead of saying, oh yeah, Ilana's here, like the duty will start and then at the first possible opportunity it'll like show this person is Ilana. And then we just move on from that. Ilana's here again. Yeah, exactly. It saves a little bit of time and means that I'm not talking about that too much, which not bad, not good. It's just there. But it also helps to make it easier to highlight who's who, because sometimes I'll be like, one of the black mages knew me? Shrug. Which one? That's a good question. Let's figure out together. Right. I'll be right back, and then we will continue. In the meantime, manatee restored. Alright, I'm back. Hey, Rain. Hey, Silva. But it also, admittedly, also really highlights how often there's like a bunch of people that are like regularly in the party for the mental roulettes. That's actually something funny that I read. I saw a Reddit post the other day where people were talking about content creators, and someone mentioned me and said that they like the mental roulette series, but they think it has gotten a little boring because the same people keep appearing. And I'm like, I mean, it's not the whole party, but I see where you're coming from. But I mean, I feel like the thing that makes it a little samey is more that we're getting the same duties, and I can only do so much. But I thought that really stood out to me. And I thought, yeah, well, most people think that's fun, I think. Or don't mind it. So I'm not gonna do anything about that, unfortunately. Mentor's running mental roulette. I think like the key is that if I wasn't streaming it, then it would be a lot easier for me to basically like if I wasn't streaming it, I could make sure that I'm only queuing when the regulars are not available to snipe me. Exactly, Lana. It's like, let's just say that in the past, I usually did my mentor roulettes on Mondays. And part of the reason why I was like, originally I did it all, you know, privately. I even moved to a more inconspicuous location to make it harder to find me, to like randomly snipe me. But at some point, Teldemar and I think Milo put 2 and 2 together and noticed that I was consistently in Solution 9 when I was like landing in random duties, and sometimes they would land in a duty with, like, specifically Teldemar would, like, queue into me for one reason or another. Sometimes deliberately, sometimes not. But eventually it's, like, pretty clear that, oh, you're in Solution 9 when you're queuing for Mental Roulette. Where are you in Solution 9? Oh, you're standing there. Like, to be specific, I would stand here if I was queuing Mental Roulette, to be out of sight. But people figured it out anyway. There was actually a point where Milo queued Tower of Zot and sniped me into his duty that he was using to level a job. Like, and at that point it was like, okay, well, that who cares if I'm like going out of my way to avoid people queuing into me. It's just, I guess it comes with the territory. Like, at some point, you get more well acquainted with my schedule. You're interested in playing with me. It makes sense. And, like, let's just say that that's just one example. Another example is, like, when I'm doing dailies in a not full party, like if we're just doing a light party, if we're just 2 or 3, it's very common that I'll land, like, an expert roulette, and the random knows me. Which means that the whole party knows me by accident. And it's just bound to happen at some point. Of course, the thing that can make it a little bit boring is that I land in an extreme and half the party knows me and knows how to do the duty by extension. And some portion of those 3 players are there because they queued at the same time as me, and sometimes they just happen to know me. And it's difficult to tell the difference, right? But I just think it's fun. I think it's fun. And I don't, like, when we get hard content, having more people that know how it's done and how to help only makes it easier for those sprouts. And in an interesting twist, we, like, this is, you know, the Goomba fallacy, right? 2 clearly opposing opinions are obviously from 2 different people with different opinions, not the same opinion. But you can have people being like, no, extremes, you should have a hard time with those. You should be like struggling to teach, like to teach these sprouts these things. At the same time, there are players that are like basically, you know, Gordon Ramsay. Oh dear, oh gorgeous. If you say as much as boo to a sprout who queued for an extreme. And you can't have it both ways. If I need to be extra sweet and nice to the sprouts, they have to try. But I can be more lenient proportional to how many players can help me carry them. So if we have, you know, if we land in something like, I don't know, Ramu Extreme, right? And I'm Scholar or Sage, and one of the other players in the party is Ilana on any tank, but preferably something like Gunbreaker, actually, I think. Then I'm pretty sure that the other tank is irrelevant. We could probably one-tank that. And then we can choose to either be super sweet and nice and go, it's okay, we'll figure it out, you're just a DPS this time. Is that nice? I don't feel like that's actually not doing them a favor. That's actually just making things worse. The alternative is going, no, you have to do your part. You have to get it right. We're not gonna carry. We're gonna try. If we reach the point where there's no time for you to learn it, then maybe we might brute force it. But until then, you're tank switching. So like there's a lot to it. It's a complicated conversation. Say Jojo and Lollipop and Dre. Hope you're doing well. And I'm glad to hear that, Jojo. Welcome to the game. And yeah, also, hey, Liv. It says, my first time doing raids in Destiny, my role was always just, alright, you kill all the ads and we'll do the mechanics. Ah, great. That way you can't ever do the run without them. Cool. Anyway, I will queue when it says 24. And if you are enjoying the stream, it does help a lot with a like over on the YouTube side of things. So thank you so much in advance. Liking the stream makes you wild and pure and forever free. And like the thing is exactly that. That is kind of what I mean, Liv, when I'm like, if I have the people to basically just carry the whole group by their collar, just carry them over the finish line, we can do that. Like, we can just do that. But that's not very fun for anyone. And it means that the sprouts who presumably wanted to learn the fight is not going to learn the fight. And they'll just be confused like, that was really easy. And then they'll queue for the next extreme and still not know anything and just be confused why this one is really hard. And the reason why it's really hard is because there isn't someone to carry them this time. So it is it's difficult. And there's nothing wrong with, like, as a sprout having to learn a fight. You have to learn it at some point. Just because you're a new player doesn't mean that you suddenly don't have to learn it. Ideas? I'm just gonna click my technical step and then we'll see. Yeah, the fight isn't long enough, I think, to worry that much about all this perfect setup. Oh, well, Boobomet, that's in Alliance raids, which are considered casual content. That's a whole different conversation. The key is that, like, quote-unquote casual content is generally perfectly beatable and, like, possible to figure out in one sitting. It's, like, no problem. But extremes are to the degree that if you have players that need more time to figure it out, then letting them figure it out means that you're not beating it in the 1 hour duty time. Yeah, I'm specifically talking difficult content. I will never, basically never go out of my way to be like, all right, guys, listen up. For a casual mechanic, I think the one exception is that, like, for instance, Diabolos with the doors. I'll usually be like, okay, guys, there's something with the doors here. And then we'll typically get it wrong anyway. Alexiano! Nope, you're doing well. Yeah, yes, I'll just ignore the doors and hope the DPS is enough to brute force it. The trick is, even if you know about the doors, you might not get the timing right, and I speak from experience. If you have one person that knows about the doors, and you know the timing, you basically have to, like, the moment the cast begins, you have to immediately start on the first door. And then, like, sprint over to the next door, and then you might make it. Like, just barely. You might maybe make it. And the funny thing is, if you time it wrong, it's worse than doing nothing. Because if you time it wrong, you get 3 debuff stacks, and then the fight just continues. If you just ignore the mechanic. If you time it right, you get 1 debuff stack and avoid a lot of damage. But you're, of course, like, out of commission for a little bit while you're, like, traversing the door. But if you do it wrong, you get one debuff stack, then you get yoinked, so you can't do anything. Or rather, you get 3 debuff stacks, then you get and take the damage, then you get yoinked, so you take an additional debuff stack. And you already took the damage, and then you're set out of commission for a bit while you wait for the doors to resolve. Like, it's just all bad. So I can't remember if you're supposed to anti-gravity that. This is gonna suck. But this is one of those examples where if you get it wrong, then it's actually, like, even if you try to do it right, if you get it wrong, it's actually worse than doing nothing. But, like, that's the kind of mechanic where I'll explain it, because it's something that is so incredibly innocuous that if you're not explained it, you're not gonna realize that it was wrong in the first place. Azegazel, and Shaq, and the Ashuki. The good news is that mechanic is survivable now. Like, you can just survive goofing it completely. For better or worse. At least it's a bit of an off-topic question, but I've been wondering what should I do if a party member very obviously doesn't know how to play the game, like spamming one button or not using OGCDs. I feel like that depends. If it's a really low-level duty, maybe just let them figure it out. They might be really new. In all other situations, if it's casual content, if it's not preventing your ability to clear the duty, you can choose to do nothing about it. Alternatively, my advice is name, do you mind if I give you some advice? Or can I give you a tip? Or something like that. Basically, ask for permission to give the advice. There's multiple reasons why you'd want to do that. The first one is that there's this whole thing people have, like, oh, it's actually illegal to give advice to other players. That's not true. It's illegal to be a jerk. And a lot of people that just give unsolicited advice give it in a rather offensive way. And then they get reported, and then they get punished. But you can completely sidestep this problem altogether if you ask if you can give advice first. So you basically remove that barrier, and then of course you'll still be polite. If they say nothing or no, then if you had not asked for permission and just vomited the advice at them without asking, you would have wasted your time because they were not gonna read it anyway. If they say yes, then you know that they said that they wanted the advice. There's a much higher probability that one, they'll be receptive to it, and two, that they will actually read it. And then you give the advice. But if it's a casual duty and it is not preventing you from clearing it, you can just do nothing. It's not your responsibility to help them get better. Like, it's not actually your responsibility. So if it's not affecting your ability to finish the duty, you can just finish the duty and move on with your day. I will also add real quick, Vohijo, that technically it isn't illegal to be bad at the game. So if you just vote kick someone for not pressing a lot of buttons, if they are well versed enough in the systems of 14, they are actually in their right to open this, click this, and report you for kicking them. And you could be punished for that. You could also not be. It's a little bit of a gray area, but I do not recommend kicking someone for being bad. And you need a little bit more than that. You need a little more than that to safely boot someone. I haven't heard much about the changes for Dusk Vigil, but Shisui of the Violet Tides got a bridge after the second boss. And apparently the second boss has the it has this chase AoE mechanic. And that one supposedly does way less damage. I get that, Bohijo, but you can't be sure if it's a bot or a troll or a legitimately bad player. And if you kick the legitimately bad player, then who's the jerk now? And I know it sounds unbelievable, but yes, there are players that are that bad, especially when they're new. As I am. Dusk Vigil's first boss does a lot more raid wides instead of stun locking. That's good. And to your question, Gazel, the way that the door mechanic works on Diabolos is that you mark 2 to 4 doors pairwise with matching icons on them. When the boss casts, I can't remember what the ability is called, but it's like a really long cast, you open 2 matching doors. The problem is, there is technically you could open the doors too soon. However, the time frame of too soon is actually pretty slim. So usually you can just open them immediately. And immediately will be delayed enough. But yeah, I will say, Wahijo, I totally get I don't want to deal with this idiot who's basically like slacking for the whole group. I totally get that. But I am specifically saying that when you do that vote kick, you are risking potential punishment in case you got that you actually got a guessed wrong on whether they are or are not a legit player. And most of the time, unless it's if it's the tank, it could be a huge problem. If it's the healer in some duties, it could be a real problem. If it's a DPS, the duty might take a little longer. You could, if you're feeling like they're legitimately being slacking, you could tell them dude, could you maybe try a little harder? In a polite way, right? And usually you'll get a lot of the time, or at least some of them will tip their hand. If they're legitimately bad, they might respond in a way that admits that. If they're trolling, they'll probably respond in a way that admits that. Or they'll say nothing. But communicating with them is often what can help determine what the real proper action is. You don't pay my sub. Yeah, there you go. That's a troll. And then you can be like, you don't pay mine either, but here I am trying to help you get through the duty as quickly as possible. Could you maybe work with me here? Anyway, I will queue when it says 34. Enough with the drama, am I right? And yeah, I can say, just speaking from personal experience, and you can if you actually sat down, I'm not saying do that. I'm saying if hypothetically you did, sit down, watch the whole Endwalker Mental Roulette series, which is 18 episodes, I think, and then watch through the Dawntrail series, just in order. Then you'll probably find that in the earlier episodes, the earlier you go, the more likely I am to be stopping to try and give people advice or try and help correct people's mistakes. And as time has passed, I've more and more just gone over to shrug. I'll explain what was wrong after the fact in the voiceover because I just don't care. They're probably not gonna listen anyway and all that. I'll say Morel. Hope you're doing well. Says the only people I've ever tried to vote dismiss are you pull your tank players. The kind who turn off their tank stance if a healer dodges something early. Sometimes it works and sometimes the other players will white knight that you pull your tank. I will say on that, Morel, that there is actually can't remember exactly where it is, but there is places in this support desk that that put you in the right. When people do that, you pull your tank is under refusing to participate in the completion of an instance. They're basically doing the equivalent of sitting down and pouting in a corner. they are effectively refusing to participate in the completion of an instance. In the player guidelines website, there's even more detailed examples. It's a huge gray area, like it's a huge complex area, right? But in the same fashion, a healer going, I don't like you, so I will not heal you. Which can also go, you pulled before the tank, so as punishment, I will not heal you, is also refusing to participate in the completion of the instance. You are deliberately refusing to do your role. You're not allowed to do that. You have to actually do what you signed up for. That's also the reason why, when it comes to, like, healers not attacking, they're usually in a safer position, because they might not be attacking because they're focusing on their primary objective, which is healing. So it's a lot more difficult to argue that the healer's not doing their job if they're not attacking. But they should be attacking if they're not. Like, if they're just standing there anyway, they should be attacking. But let's just say that if that's where you are, it's a casual duty. It's probably better to just, like, agree to disagree and just get on with your day. Thank you, Ardell. Say, Seraph. Oh, right. The release says I have had to stop doing damage because my MP was 100. That usually comes as a result of needing to cast a lot of healing spells or having to res a lot. An A node! An A red master! And yeah, that is also a good piece of advice, Red Master. Advice about advice is, if you go, this player is having trouble, I want to give them advice. If you say, can I give you advice? And they say yes, that doesn't mean that you just go, all right. First of all, and then you just go through the entirety of a guide. That's not how you do it, because they will retain maybe one thing. So, under that assumption, assume that they will remember one thing. Tell them the most important thing. And nothing else. Which also, of course, clashes straight into a wall when you have those situations where a player is doing things so wrong that you're like, I could give you one tip, but it doesn't work because you're doing these 9 other things wrong too. And that's usually what happens when you get into, like, high-level duties. You have a healer that is, like, not attacking and mainly using, like, Cure 1. Do you tell them to attack more, or do you tell them to use Cure 2 instead? Do you tell them both? Do you think you can convince them to do either of those things? Oh boy! Hey, Emir! Emir! No, is that already a bingo, Ilana? Wow. Turns out the other tank knows me. That's a pretty good sign, usually. Yeah, the tank asked because they couldn't remember for sure. Oh, he even turned off the stance as we swapped. Nice. Worth it, Rust? No! I'm not sure what killed everyone, but this is still livable. Or winnable. Possibly. The problem is that my co-tank can't hold for very long, does not have a lot of healing, and I can't help them. Ticking time bomb. There it is. Yeah, the unfortunate reality is I didn't have any healing remaining to help. And it's a Dark Knight. They didn't have anything either. The saddest part is that part of the reason why the tank switching happens so incredibly infrequently throughout the fight is because the boss is like preoccupied with all sorts of other things. But at that very last bit, there's nothing left. It's mostly just tank busters. So suddenly it goes really fast. And the reason why I hold or like get a little like stingy with my defensives is precisely because the very last wave of orbs is usually a lot harder. So I try my best to save everything so I can take most of the orbs there. There's also the trick that you can actually knockback immune the shove that comes as Etheric Boom happens. So that also helps a ton. Oh, that's a really, really bad overlap. Okay, we got it. We did it. Whew. The unfortunate truth is that Super Bolide just doesn't work for it, which is the reason why I used it there so that I could help with more orbs without dying to auto attacks. And yeah, done. Very nice. What about on double light? Not at level 50 now. I will queue when it says 51. Hey, Shura! That was the other tank and the duty we just did. Well done, by the way. Very nice. It was unfortunate that I didn't have Aurora on the first pull. If I still had Aurora available, we might have been able to, like, just clear it as 2 tanks. But I didn't have anything left. A6. What would occur if there was? a mechanic where for AoE tank busters, but during it made the tank confused so they would run around randomly at other players. That's so difficult. That's hard to say. So I just realized I could have invuln to live longer. Ah. Yeah, if you still had Living Dead at that very last moment, that might have been it, but oh well. Was a little bit chaotic. You might have been focused on something else. It's the differences between someone doing what needs to be done and like going above and beyond, I feel. And sometimes we just miss those opportunities. Oh boy. Ooh, those mines explode bigger. Yeah. Guys, I found the pixel safe spot. I did it. Yeah, I had Midas in my Wondrous Tales today, and I also just like looked at it, was like, oh, it's of the sun, okay. Ow. I don't remember which one is which, so I first went into Arm and realized, no, I can't do that one. That has like a split path somewhere. So I believe that was the stack. The Great Betrayal. And then just backed out and then went into this one. I was like, sure. Like 2-shot each of these guys. It's probably fine. It's probably faster than backing out again to find the most efficient one. Because I'm pretty sure Brute Justice is not the fastest one. Yeah, I know, Seraph. That's what I did. Looked at the 4 duties and thought, I don't remember which is which. And I can't be bothered to look them up. So I'll just enter one, and then I guess we'll see. Fun fact, you cannot invuln that beam. That's correct. It's a stack. It's a stack in the same way that Extreme Shiva has the cone stack with sword. Elemental Jammer! Circles and circles and fire and circles and circles and super cyclone. Ah, knockback immunity works on that. Neat. Oh, nice. There was a tank switch there because a debuff count. At least there was an attempted tank switch. I will queue when it says 21. Hey, Vince! I believe that feature where you can just click on the options in the Wondrous Tales and it tells you what ones is a pretty new feature as well. As a parcel or parcel tool or Ben. Yeah, the good news is that Midas, like now you can just click the Wondrous Tales. The problem for me is that I don't remember which is which. I only remember that the 4th turn is Brute Justice. The 3rd turn is something you shouldn't try to solo. It's not worth your time. The 2nd turn was what we just did. What's Fist of the Sun? Is that the doctor with the gas? The doctor with the gas. The goop guy. It is the guy with the gas. Here says I soloed all of it. The reason why I say you probably shouldn't solo the 3rd turn is because that's one of those with split paths, which makes it really, really inconvenient because it means you have to like go on each path a lot more like traversing, which makes it a little bit annoying. It's not that you can't, it's just it's probably better to do something else. Missing 1 DPS range, you're not called for it? That is weird. Has it actually set up to look for members? Because it could have gotten you, someone else left, and then they haven't, like, listed themselves again. Oh boy! That's right, Boobamet. The split paths mean that you have to go forward and back, and then forward and back. Do 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 do. Hey! The game realized that it was kind of dragging it out when I was starting to play elevator music. Oh yeah, you know, that's a good point. We kind of played out the joke now. I'll queue and it says 36. Everything burns. Bird up. Bam bam bam. Space Queen. What was the gimmick there? How do you cancel that invuln? It has a timer. They just don't show it to you. You literally just wait. Like, for some reason, it doesn't have a visible timer on the invuln, but you just wait for it to end. That's the gimmick. You just wait. And then you cleave them evenly. Reeve says, I cannot remember the Eden tier names. I can't remember the tier names very... even Eden's... Is it Eden's Gate, Eden's Verse? Eden's Promise. Eden's Gate, Eden's Verse, Eden's Promise. Oh boy! Blech. 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 But I do feel like I'm a lot better at remembering the bosses from Eden compared to like the Order in Stormblood or Heavensward. And I'm completely lost on Coils of Bahamut. For Eden, it's like boss 1 is Eden itself, boss 2 is Gaia, boss 3 is Leviathan, boss 4 is Titan, boss 5 is Ramu, then it's Garuda Ifrit. Then it's Birds, Iconoclasm. Then it's Shiva. I'll queue when it says 31. Then it's Cloud of Darkness. Then it's the Shadow Dog. Then we have Thanjit. And then we have Eden's Promise itself. But I think the reason why I remember it so much better is because, you know, in Stormblood, I wasn't really doing normal raids. I have told this story before. I didn't do raiding. Not even normal raids. Not even alliance raids when I got into the game. Oh! Wow, new dungeon! Hey! Expert Roulette, go! Is it better to use long cast or the hammer combo first during burst? It doesn't matter. As long as you get everything done. Actually, it's often not a bad idea to use the long casts first, because the hammer is more flexible on when you use it. And the long casts are not, and also require you to stand somewhere specific while you use them.
You're a sight for sore eyes.
But ultimately, the order isn't important. As long as you get everything you want used, the order is irrelevant. There's Ionic Blast. And yeah, if you have something like an Astrologian giving you a damage card, it's one thing that can matter for planning is making sure that you use it whatever hits harder while you have the card. Is it just me or the pack's dragging on a little bit?
Appreciate the help.
I love how they finish fighting and then use a potion.
Take care of the fisher.
During Medina, this ad group is high DPS. Well, you might be right on that, Cyrilia. But there's like, I don't know if it's optimal, but there is something to be said. I have just overwritten Medine, mindlessly thinking about something else as I'm doing the thing. That was not intentional. However, the thing that I actually meant to say was that doing more DPS isn't necessarily the optimal thing. Pushing the damage you need out at the time where it's most most helpful is. It's a little bit related to the whole conversation about what limit break is more effective to use in a dungeon. An AoE limit break will definitely kill mobs, like will do more DPS. But the amount of damage you can push through in the single target context of a boss fight, it might help more for some parties to just use the single target limit break instead. I should have swift casted a motif there. I don't know if Pixelmans can just dash to the motion wall. Depends. Apparently you can. If you time it right, you might be able to go through it fast enough that you like basically miss the timing where it checks. So you can. Just like how you can ethereal manipulation over death walls sometimes. Sometimes. Uh-oh. We're both like, I death. That's true, Necrophits. As it turns out, flamethrower does not count as doing something. So if you can time it just right, you can just activate that and just kind of stand there as the scanner goes over you. Does changing the direction you're facing trigger the wall? Because I had a run yesterday where it felt like it did. I don't think it does. But the thing is that unless you're playing on standard controls, you might not be able to perfectly turn your character without inducing a single pixel of movement. I should not have been making a hammer there. Hey, Leah. The trick is that the way the game checks things like this, like the wall, is that the server itself, you know, checks every X time where your coordinates are and whether they're overlapping with the mechanic itself. So if you happen to move so fast across the whole length of the mechanic, the server might observe your position before you pass the wall and after you pass the wall, and then just shrug, never notice that you were actually going over the wall as you were doing that. That's why it sometimes works. And Alex? And congratulations, Darth. And yeah, there's a... for those that don't know, I have a whole series called Final Fantasy XIV Mythbusters, also known as Test Your Claims, where I test random things. For instance, we had a whole test in Seed of Sacrifice, because that one both has a mechanic that punishes you for doing things and punishes you for not doing things. And Flamethrower didn't activate the one that was checking if you're doing something, which is, you know, the fire. And you would get frozen while doing Flamethrower if you use Flamethrower doing the ice thing. Which also, by the way, locked you in a very funny position with the flames still blasting out of your gun. We've been shorted. Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-oh. Isn't he a Dalriada recolor? Yes, he is. Supposedly, the Dalriada boss is actually like a reskin of what's his face from Shadowbringers. I am righteousness. Ah! Ow. War 3, yes. Dashing into him rolling was like a really bad game of chicken. Yeah, I don't know what I intended to do with that, but it looked funny, right? There is something to be said that it's impossible for companies to predict what kind of thing players fall in love with. Like, 14 has all these great characters, and what is the character that players go, oh, that's the one, that's our favorite, that's the one we like. It's a random deer that they named Dot, or level Dot. And a fat guy that is just a random boss in a dungeon. And a Yan, yeah, Yan as well. Like, of course, why not? I will say that there is some level of predictability, like Short, for instance, in retrospect, pretty clear. Ishiro says I don't like Yans. Oh. Have you, did you tank M6S, Ishiro? Varian says it's wild Yans are popular since it's a savage-only mob. I think the amount of memes they produced transcended being exclusive to Savage. Everyone knew what a Yan was, for the most part. Regardless of whether you're Savage rated or not. Just because of the sheer quantity of memes about the demonic Yan. Oh, whoops. Replaced a comet. Dang it. They put the mount from maps in raiding. And that cute minion you can get from maps, it's in a raid, guys.
Welcome to my domain, mortal.
Void Dark. Ah, right. That's a cleave. Of course, I should have known.
Take form and serve. Carry out my will.
Carry out my will.
Now for something different.
Now, for something completely different. A cone! Oh, no one's seen those before.
Time to pull the string.
Please don't pull the strings. Ugh. How did I dodge that? How did that work? He shipped in more garbage. What a guy. Yeah. MP Joop, obey doing will. Yeah, for the most part, there wasn't really anyone spoiling much. Like, the one part was, like, on the very first stream, there was some jerk who basically spoiled the whole twist of the story itself, I believe. But I didn't really read it. And it was too early, so I didn't really understand it. So, their loss, I guess. What game, Vector? Yeah, I did notice that, Sonic Blast. I just kinda wasn't paying as much attention to them as I should, I guess. Primarily because Smudge is broken. But yeah, true. Yeah, also, I've only had Clitium, like, twice. So I'm not, like, this is the third time, I think. So I'm not super experienced with the bosses. And each time I've ran it, I've been a different job. That doesn't help either. Anyway, I'll be right back, and then we keep going. Meantime, Manatee restored. Finally, good content. Yes, the manatee. But yeah, Pedro, the last two streams of E33, we did Simon. We did the final boss, the story, and then we went and did the DLC. And tomorrow we're looking at some more optional side content, which should include the Endless Tower. But we are kind of running out of stuff. I never really got to the point in Expedition 33 where I was like doing like tens of millions of damage. But I found a way to do, to just stun lock enemies. Now it should be quick for like half of it. Yeah, I don't know how much we'll do. I understand that it's basically Super Boss Central. I don't know if we'll do all of it. But I'll check it out. I'll Q when it says 56. And if you are enjoying the stream, it does help a lot with a like over on the YouTube side of things. So thank you much in advance. It does help, you know, algorithms and all that. Going to refund the game eventless tower has an end. I do believe it has an end. But it is the tower on its own, I do believe, is longer than 2 hours, so you might have difficulty refunding it. I do see that if I ever were to invest in a in like a VTuber model of some sort, I should just straight up get a manatee with a hat or something. Nothing else would suffice. Oh, and glasses, yeah. Right, a manatee with straight up my black mage glam with the big hat and everything. Oh my! Here we go again, guys. Are you ready? Meanwhile, Shaq got Leviathan Extreme. I feel robbed. I got scammed. I'll Q when it says 48. Who's the real winner? I mean, it's possible that Shaq got like a bad Leviathan Extreme party, and then maybe it's more fun for me to not have that. But I mean, it's probably more entertaining for everyone if I land in the Extreme, right? Wilana says, we got it while you were changing from DPS to tank. Were you both queuing as DPS as well? Are you saying that I missed it by a second? Oh, well, there is still a chance. Want to complete that hest the correct way one day and not aggro the Gobu? Are you supposed to pull the small packs without the Gobu? How? Is that even possible? And we have... Well, we were talking about Yans. Ruthless, well, she says, I haven't even unlocked guild tests. Are they worth or just an intro mechanics? You're not missing anything, Ruthless. They're extremely boring. Some of them try to teach you basic mechanics, but they are so weak that they don't really teach you anything. You're not missing anything. I'll say Shaman. Savage is never in Mental Roulette, Space Queen.
What inspiration will you give me, I wonder?
Welcome to Sugar Riot's Gallery of Glamours!
As in never, ever.
Perhaps I'll draw this.
No coils. No Alexander Savage.
And with a flourish, Sugar Riot thinks
Old
our
extremes,
work is live.
but not old Savage. Hey yeah! Hey yeah! Yeah. Uh-oh.
What's your favorite color?
Uh-oh. Oh. Saved by very aware healer.
Comes to me. I hope you like it hot and sandy.
Goodness, the rain has become a desert.
How about a little more sunshine? When I think desert, I think of these prickly fellows.
Watch out, it's a veritable storm of needles. The challenger's down! Is this the end?
There's something missing. Oh, I know.
I did that wrong. That was not supposed to be a Luna.
Quicksand? Oh, you don't want to get caught in there.
We can still fix that.
Favorite color? When you can't decide on one thing.
When you can't decide on one thing.
What do you think of this?
I was hoping I could cheese it with ping, but that was maybe a little too wishful.
Effortlessly dodged.
Thank you.
What do you say to a refreshing riverscape?
I don't know, what do I say?
A crystal clear river. How charming.
Well, someone's gonna die.
Oh no, that was too much for the challenger.
This is no good. It needs a
The tank apologized. There was a heal that should not have taken it on land.
A thunderstorm has turned the waters muddy. How frightening.
I have it. Some destruction to facilitate
Deconstruction. Phantom Rush. Boom, boom, boom. 209k. It's pretty good.
A massive raging storm. I hope you
A massive raging storm. Hey, mister. What, again? Oh boy.
What power? Looks like someone isn't holding back.
When you can't decide on one thing. What do you think of this?
Uh-oh. You know, I don't know what I think. Normally this fight is over by now. That's what I think.
It's all over.
The gamer sage, I would say. Could you imagine the wings mechanic had made it to the normal Sugar Riot? Oh. That sounds rough. A turtleneck? A greenhouse? Well, I hope you have fun, mister. And hey, Jet. Yeah, the sage was excellent. Imagine and stay with me here, Yan and normal. I'm gonna throw down the gauntlet. Why is Sugar Riot's whole selling point, like the big flagship mechanic on Savage, an ad phase, and normal doesn't even have one? What? Hello? Why not? It doesn't have to be like a super hard one, but why does normal not even have ads? What? Like, it could be 1 or 2 Yans that spawned throughout mechanics or something. I've also said personally that I feel like it would have been cooler if it wasn't just, then we have the desert phase, then we have the ad phase, then we have the water phase, then we have the lava phase. I would have preferred if the ads were just sprinkled throughout the Savage encounter. I think that would have been a lot more interesting, personally. And that's despite the fact that it as is very interesting. Well, the difference there, is A2 is not an ad phase. It's just ads. It's the oops, we forgot the boss. The encounter. I will queue when it says 18. Imagine a random Jabberwock spawn in river phase. Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Or there's a Yan during the desert phase. I know, I'm perfectly aware that putting, like sprinkling ads in during the other phases would make it possibly a little too hard. The logic is, of course, that you change the fight to accommodate that. And then instead of having a dedicated ad phase, you just have ads appearing alongside other mechanics. And yeah, exactly. Brood Abominator has a little bit of ads. It didn't have to be much. It was a cat. If normal had ads, it would have been expected for Savage. I think surprise ad phase. That's also true. That's a fair point. That if there had been ads in the normal mode, then it would not have been very surprising that there was ads in the Savage version, and the sheer amount of surprise, well, could have been worth it all on its own. That's really weird how often we're getting, we need tanks, guys. We need tanks for Mental Roulette. For what? A guild test. Believe it or not. A guild test again. A really weirdly high probability that we get guild tests as tank specifically. I'm bringing the hog to the Lemures. It's fine. We've got this. Run! When was the last time we had ads in Savage since M6S? Iconoclasm? I'll queue and it says 31. And she could hit while the boss was active, I mean. But then I don't know. P3S? Yeah, that had the birds, but yeah, if we're disqualifying for... Oh, the boss has to be attackable, then I'm pretty sure that Phoenix is disqualified as well. Hey, Squid Lips! It's time for, I guess, another guild test. Or maybe not. I'm over here basically just like grabbing bounties. Oh, a DPS bounty. Oh, a tank bounty. And suddenly there's no more of either. Like, oh, guess I have to heal then. Here it comes, guys! It's Buckman! Here it comes! Here it goes! Here it comes! Bucky Man is coming. Oh, it's not Buckman. It's Gobby Man. Is there something in 07s? Oh yeah, the Guardian. I wouldn't be surprised if he had something. The problem for me is that I don't actually know the details on very many old Savage encounters. If only. It almost looks like it could work. Cross says, you just made my cat really nervous. Apparently I'm very good at it, huh? I'll queue when it says 56. Jesus, I know there's an add in 07 that can be tanked while the boss is active. There's several. Like several small mini ad phases, but I don't know if any of it carries over to Savage either. Well, we got 15. Will we be able to hit 16 or 17 or 18? Hey, Valder! Did anything weird or fun happen today? I got off from work. I mean, It's a Kai stream. It's always fun, right? We had also a weapon extreme. Does that count? Oh yeah, we also saw Chort. O7S would be an option. Well, there you go. It's just one of those days. Hey, Chloe. Have a nice evening, Rust. Dun, 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 dun. Ah! I'm coming! I'm coming to help! Just pick everything up. Hey, on tempo. Are these all of the dudes that remain? Cryus Longbeard strikes again! And then he runs away! I've noticed enough times that if you're not paying attention, there's often another pack that spawned from somewhere else. That's why I'm like, not really dedicated to fighting the thing that I pick up. Just looking for anything else and like running towards the other side to pick up immediately. We're picking up everything. We're picking up everything. I grab it all. I grab it all. I grab it all. No! Save the artifact! No! Oh. I'll queue when it says 37. And the fact was, I love Guildhast so much that I haven't even cleared the first one. Oh. Yeah, understandable. Pretty funny, if they removed Guildhasts, it would increase the difficulty of getting the 2000 Roulette achievement. Hey, right, you. Does your free company raid sometimes? No. Basically never. I raid with a static separately. a large portion of the free company is inactive, and a portion of the active ones are like they are of their own admittance not skilled enough to savage raid. What's that supposed to mean, Raiju? My free company isn't doing that either. They're just doing casual content. What? Le Omega like random expectations based on nothing? Hello? The reason why Chaos doesn't do as, quote unquote, doesn't do as much raid content is because people just decided that Light is the place to congregate for hard content because of Party Finder. Chaos is active for raiding as well. It's just mainly in statics. Sure, you can tank first if you want. Makes things easier for me. Hey, Rothema! Hope you're doing well. It's going pretty well. We're getting a lot of guild tests today, though. It's going pretty well. Hope you're having a good time. Chloe, you just have to start somewhere. I would say it's a pretty good starting place is, oh, the tank is spamming provoke. A pretty good starting point is to do extremes if you haven't yet, like current extremes. And there you see. Wow, very efficient. Very nice. Efficient again. Oh, that was very well timed provoke. So maybe not. Maybe it's fine. What? Why did I not die from that? I don't think I can do this. Do not have the mitigation to do it. And that's too much health. I think I survived because I had every single mitigation I have running. Yeah, I believe I just survived because apparently that lethal blow is mitigatable. Weird. I have a feeling that this Sprout tank has never played a melee DPS. Because their movement tells me that they don't know. Unfortunately, an extreme is not the time for that. There's a time and place for everything, Ash, and this is not it. The tank is gonna die. Observe that I used a trick that I've told about to circumvent provoke spammers. Just forcibly took back aggro. He can tank now if he wants to. You can tank if you want to. You can leave your life behind. Was it that bad with Anna? It's not. It's actually, I would say, Ultimate Weapon Extreme is one of those where, like, even if I have a really bad team, it's pretty beatable. So I wouldn't be mad. As long as you try, I don't really mind. Sorry, that was me. That was me. That was me. ALTC. I'll queue when it says 15. To be fair, Ultimate Weapon Extreme has a lot of stuff going on, but the only thing that matters is did the orbs get soaked. That's all. The way that you overpower a provoke spammer is if they don't know, and they usually don't know, you can overtake them. Like, you provoke, and you'll notice that they're a provoke spammer because, you know, they provoke back, right? You just spam your ranged attack, which has the huge enmity multiplier, until you get aggro. Then, you of course have to hold it, so you might have to do it a little bit more to be sure. Then you just have to hold that until they provoke again. Then you just provoke right after them. They can't take it back at that point. Like, they have to specifically use the trick against you, and they might not know the trick. And then they're kind of just screwed. There's nothing they can do. Two charges of provoke is going to make that fun. Oh, yes. It's going to get real chaotic when Evercold comes. Let's be honest, those that know that trick probably also know how to tank. Yeah, exactly, Zerelia. If you know this, you probably understand that enmity is not something you just, like, you don't just click provoke. You probably understand a little bit more, and then you won't use provoke on cooldown anyway. Are we getting another extreme? We are getting Leviathan extreme. Oh, I guess we're not talking tactics. Oh, okay. I was actually placing myself at the head because I was expecting that I should have held my berserk there. I was expecting that no help. Is that some kind of food? In a way, it's food for your brain. Donuts, spreads, and bagels. Yeah, true. It's food like that, too. I'm just gonna throw one ranged attack. So I'm pretty sure I'm second in enmity on the tail, just in case. And then we hold resources a bit, because this entire phase is more an endurance check. Ow. Leviathan still attacks me if I go away, right? Oh wait, he shoots AoEs. I just realized he shoots AoEs. Ah, timed that wrong. Didn't need it though, as it turns out. Are we okay? I think Ilana looks okay. I just realized, I think the other tank already stunned. Perfect. Straight up perfection. It's just that easy, guys. Wow. And the mount drops. It's just that easy. First try, and it was just like perfect. Nothing, like there was a death here and there, but there was nothing that really went wrong. Like, you see something like that, and then you start to, like, question why it would be a problem if extremes were in Mental Roulette, after all. Like, why does anyone care, right? And then you have a run like that, that Ramu extreme from a few weeks ago. And you're like, ah, that would be why. And also, Rudema says, I think we were slightly panicked at the realization we hadn't queued unsynced. Yeah, I could see that. If I saw it, first of all, you'd be like, we didn't queue unsynced. And second of all, the fact you probably clicked, and then it just popped immediately. You're like, oh, fantastic. Click enter. Why are we level 50? real record scratch moment right there. Just, hold up. Who are these people? And why am I level 50? But amazingly, that was 18 duties. And once again, we finished on an extreme. 2, actually. Just ba-boom. So what did we get? We got... Hold on to your hats. Your big hats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guild tests. And 1 leveling dungeon. And 1, 2, 3, 4 extremes. And 1 trial. And 1, 2, 3 normal raids. I got stopped there for a second because I just realized I wrote O6N for the A6N. I think that was everything. Oh, right, we had 1 expert roulette. We had 1 level 100 duty as well. Amazing. Yet it's very fun to do those extremes when people are just nailing it, but a lot of the time there's something weird. As I've said before, the kind of player that queues for extreme trials, like the average player that does that has a tendency to maybe not have the chops for it, which makes it really hard. The most important mechanic, don't slide into the water. You learn from Unsync. Oh yeah. Wait, do you? Isn't it possible to one-shot Leviathan? I mean, if you don't, then, like, yeah, you have to, like, deal with the slides. Is it not possible? I'm just gonna check. Could be a damage roll. Yeah, exactly, Cat. Easy answer. Try. That was a direct hit? Actually, wait. First, it was a Prefulgence normal. Then it was a Vice of Thorns direct hit that did the same damage. Hey, Mushi! I don't even think the Vice of Thorns was needed. It's just the damage technically connected, looking at the battle log. Hey, Ink Bubba! I specifically went with Red Mage, by the way, because, as it turns out, as we recently discovered, among mages, it actually has the biggest single hit. And my gear for mage is pretty good. So I was thinking that I would do better than going with, like, ninja. But that might not even be the case. Only if you're... Yeah, of course. Only if you're strong enough. It is a gear thing. That's also something to keep in mind, guys. If you for instance watched my guide on A Realm Reborn relic weapons, the reason why there's like a whole list of options is because Ifrit is only good if you can, like, insta-kill him. If you can't, then, like, King Mugglemog is a good option. Because he's... Like, he takes longer if you can't insta-kill him. But he, like, you can take him in 2 hits. But if you need 3, then, other options might start to look better. But Leviathan, you can't do that while wielding a relic weapon. So it's definitely a little bit of a gear check. Hey, Rythian, Scat. I think we are communicating with Rythian's cat. But yeah, if it's all the same, like if gear is not a factor, then the best you can do to one-shot something in present day for, like, unsync stuff, like, if all your gear is the same, then option 1 for straight up, you only have 1 hit. The boss is gonna go invuln if you do anything else. You just go white mage, just clap him with the blood lily, just done. If you have if the boss is like, well, it won't do anything for the first 5 seconds or something, so you have time, then you go as ninja, and you probably do something with, like, Kunai's Bane, or you use something with Tenchi Jin. Because if you only have one hit, then you like Heroes of Andrew is technically weaker than a Flatus Misery, like out the box. It needs the extra help that Ninja can provide. Say Helium. Anyway, we did it. We did the thing. 18 whole ones. Set out for 15, get 18 because thank you, Guildhests. And by the way, like really funny thing is that part of the motivation to like vary what role we go is that healers seem to get the fastest queues like consistently almost instant. The problem is that they get a lot of duties that take, you know, 15 minutes possibly. Not that that's a deal breaker, but it's a lot harder to get like about 10 to 15 duties done if that's all you get. And it's also a little bit boring to get Sastasha and 1000 Malls of Totorak and Tumtara Deepcroft again and again and again and again. Wondrous Palace. I feel like that's more if I'm tanking. Weirdly, we didn't get from Wondrous Palace today. Anyway, I think we will call that for tonight. So, if you like to be part of the Discord community server, there's a link right there in the chat. There you'll find the weekly schedule where you can see what else is coming up in the coming days. I usually update it Sunday or Monday. You also find the announcement room with links to videos and streams and put them out. And if you grab the reminder roll in the roller sound room, you get a notification whenever I post a video stream as well as an extra one. Around 15 minutes before stream starts, you can catch it right when we go live. And if you'd like to support the channel even more directly, you can like over on the YouTube side of things. You can follow, subscribe, become a member, super chat, cheer, all of that goodness. It all helps the channel. And if you don't like any of that, there's also the Ko-Fi link out. I'll post it right there in the chat. It all helps support me and the channel directly so I can do stuff like this with all of you without having to worry about algorithms and whatnot to make it work. So thank you so much for the support. But that'll be it from me. Let's see if we can find some cool person to raid. Can we find some cool person to raid? The Queenie's doing ranked. Ranked PvP. Let's check that out. Variety! Anyway, that'll be it from me tonight. So, good night, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where you are in the world, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye-bye!